In the headlines, police and squatters on the east coast of Demerara are in a standoff as Gaisuco moves in to reclaim its lands. A 29-year-old drunken man breaks into his ex-wife's house and sets it on fire. PNCR executive member Dr. Karen Cummings tells coalition partners that the PNC will move forward with or without them. Opposition members of parliament tell the government to change its approach to tackling the COVID-19 pandemic as 48 more cases are recorded. $25,000 cash grant distribution commences in regions 1 and 9, and sport, 6 months of serious preparation needed to whip Golden Jaguars into shape, says the GFF president. With the news, I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. We start off by telling you that ranks of the Guyana police force clashed with citizens on Wednesday afternoon as they joined authorities from the Guyana Sugar Corporation, Gaisuco, to remove scores of squatters who have illegally taken up the corporation's land along the east coast of Demerara. The standoff led to police reportedly using tear gas and rubber bullets to disperse the squatters, who dismantled the bridge, preventing the police from accessing the squatting settlement. Kurt Campbell joins us with details.
We're coming to you from Success on the east coast of Demerara, where ranks of the Guyana Police Force moments ago clashed with squatters occupying lands belonging to the Guyana Sugar Corporation, Gaisuco. Gaisuco had issued several notices asking the growing number of squatters to remove from the area. They have refused to do so, with the latest notice from Gaisuco being issued today. The police moved in along with authorities from Gaisuco to have the squatters removed from the area so that Gaisuco can proceed with its own work. The action by the authorities of Gaisuco and the police led to clashes between the squatters and the armed ranks. The squatters had moved to remove a bridge which would have given the police and the authorities access to the area that they are occupying. They later hurled missiles at the police, including bottles and rocks, and also expletives. That led the police to react by using tear gas and pellets. We spoke to several protesters here on the ground, and we also spoke to residents who gave us varying views of how they feel about the situation and what transpired here today.
Well, actually, I wasn't here from the start, but what I observed when I arrived is that they were removing the bridge, the access bridge, that leads to the area where these people are squatting. But they had some confrontation with the police and these people. What I witnessed, that they were throwing bottles at the police, they were throwing stones and rocks at the police. That's what I witnessed. And the police in turn, they used pellets and tear gas. Recently, we have witnessed that our constitution has been trampled upon, right? Now, it is time that our laws be respected. It is time that this lawlessness stop. We all know that squatting is illegal and it should not be supported. Yes, there is a process and everybody needs land, but there is a process and it should be followed. People should go and follow the process, apply for land, right? There are lots of people who apply and haven't even gotten a house lot, but they haven't resorted to squatting. All right? So it's time that this come to an end now, because what we have witnessed over the past weeks is that the people of Success, they have been limited to abuse, verbal abuse, and threats from these people at the back here that are squatting at the back here, and it's not nice, right? So it's time, and I applaud the police and the authorities who are here today to ensure that they bring this situation to an end.
Gaisuco on Wednesday issued a warning to squatters occupying their lands at Lust, Success and Chateaumargo along the east coast of Demerara to remove forthwith, as the entity is in the process of reviving its operations in the area. The corporation is currently in the process of reviving its operation at East Demerara, and the squatting of these lands is hindering the land preparation process. Gaisuco noted in a statement. The state entity noted that a number of fields in the area houses its germplasm collection, which is vital for the corporation's cane breeding program, but these fields have been destroyed by the squatters. Now, police have arrested a 29-year-old hire car driver who broke into his ex-wife's lot 35, Raghuveer Street, Reliance Abundant, East Kanji Burby's home, damaging her valuables and then setting the property on fire. Fraser Hanif reports.
The newsroom confirmed that Devendra Samru, known as Vicky, was in a drunken state when he broke the gate, entered the yard, and used a cutlass to break the locks on the door Tuesday night. At the time, his ex-wife was not at home. Residents of Reliance Abandon, East Kanji East, recalled seeing him on the veranda of the house threatening to burn it down. After learning that the man broke into the house, the ex-wife arrived with 2 police officers and Samru was warned to come down. But he continued with his tirade and issued threats to the woman in the presence of the police. He also took a glass table and a laptop computer and smashed it to the ground. Samru and the woman have been renting the property for 2 years. However, they recently separated, but the wife continued to live at the property. The caretaker of the house, Kausila Bridge Mohan, explained what occurred. She did not watch her face on camera.
And then I get a call. When I check the call, is the wife calling. So she said she heard that how Vicky dey in the house. He break the lock and he dey in the house. So me tell she said me no know, me thought me hear talking in the house. So she said okay. So she come, she go bring police and come. Me said do what you gotta do. Anyhow she come with the police. Same time he walk out to the yard. When he walk out to the yard, then maybe them must see she. No, she not come with the police then. She come with your car, she drive past, and he start right behind the car and go out. Then, them gone, me don't know what happened after that. Like 10 minutes after, he come back. Then she come back with one car and police. So he go in the house, lock up the house. Policeman come, 2 policemen come, them a call, he now open the door. Like 5 minutes after, he opened the veranda door and he come out. And he start chorus, he chorus them policeman, he chorus she. Say how he go burn the house and he go kill she. Then police tell him, like, come down. He said, no, he not come down. You gotta get dead squad to get me out here.
Bridge Mohan said her husband also pleaded with Samru not to destroy the property, but he attacked them and the police.
So my husband tell he say, you can't do that. You gotta come out of the house. Your contract end and come out of the house. He start cussing my husband that you get a second life and you attack. My husband did heart surgery not too long. So he tell him, you get a second life and you're who for that. Anyhow, he come down, he start pelt down thing, glass, then police take their life on their own. Then start call for backup. Take his cutlass and he start, people come out now. He say how nobody's to come here, he go kill everybody. He start fun knock his cutlass. The people frightened. Then he hold one thing like this, one piece of paper, and he say, go see what happen. His wife stand up outside, she can't go in. And he light the thing. And when he just throws on the whole house catch a fire. According to me, what me think that this thing premeditated. He soaked this house before. And he been await when she for going, either he kill she and burn the house with himself inside. I be try call fire real, plenty body come, then try then call fire real. Then fireman come, then did the best what he can do.
She believes that if Samru's parents had arrived at the scene, the house could have been saved.
I think if his parents been reaching time, he never chop parents. He can chop me, he can chop you, but he never chop the parents. Me think if them been come here, the house would have saved. And if he never get a cutlass and threaten people, the house would have saved. Because people willing for go in with bucket, but he say he go kill everybody. Tell them policeman, you gotta bring dead squad for get me out here. Them boy had to run and soak me house, or me house would catch a fire. I had to move out of the vehicle and stuff.
Bridge Mohan estimates the losses to be in excess of $3 million, and the 29-year-old Samru remains in police custody as the investigations continue. Fariza Hanif, Newsroom.
50-year-old Leroy Chacon of Trainline Port Kaituma Northwest District was charged on Tuesday for trespassing with the intent to commit a sexual offense on a woman who died from COVID-19. Chacon appeared at the Matthews Ridge Magistrates Court before Magistrate Delon Best via Zoom and pleaded guilty to the offense. He was remanded to prison. Chacon was placed on quarantine under police guard on Saturday after he was caught performing the indecent act on the corpse of a 56-year-old woman who died on September 21 after displaying COVID-19 symptoms. A COVID-19 test later confirmed that she tested positive for the disease. The woman's body was being stored at the Port Kaituma mortuary when Chacon visited the mortuary at around 7:45 and attempted to perform sex on the body. When the newsroom returns, PNCR Executive Member Dr. Karen Cummings tells coalition partners that the PNC will move forward with or without them, and the suspect in the 2015 murder of a taxi driver is caught. Stay tuned. This is the newsroom. With talks of an investigation underway into the Region 4 RDC debacle, Executive Member of the People's National Congress Reform, Dr. Karen Cummings, has brushed aside concerns by the Alliance for Change, the AFC, that the PNC-dominated APNU AFC coalition has failed to honor promises in its binding agreement. Kurt Campbell reports.
While initially backing down from answering questions in the AFC and APNU fallout, Executive Member of the People's National Congress Reform, Dr. Karen Cummings, was passionate in pointing out her belief that the AFC has received its fair share when the technicalities of a 70-30 division are considered. During a virtual press conference on Wednesday, Dr. Cummings reminded that the Cummingsburg Accord, which was signed between the two sides, allows for the 70-30 sharing of power and responsibility in and out of government. The latest fallout between the AFC and the APNU faction of the coalition surrounds the failure to honor a prior agreement to allow the AFC to occupy the vice chairman position in the three regions the coalition won at the March 2nd, 2020 elections. The AFC only secured the vice chairman position in Region 7, but failed to get the support of the APNU to elect its nominee to the post in Regions 4 and 10. This prompted the resignation of David Patterson from the AFC as the General Secretary. He has also signaled his intention to resign from the National Assembly. The AFC has issued no statement on the matter, but Patterson confirmed that there was a prior agreement he brokered between the APNU and AFC that the vice chairman position in all the regions won by the coalition would go to the AFC. Dr. Cummings, who was present at the election of the Region 4 chairman and vice chairman on Monday, described the process as fair and transparent. She said she was not privy to any previous agreement between the AFC and the APNU. Dr. Cummings said too that while Opposition Leader Joseph Harmon will address the matter fully at his press conference on Friday, it was her belief that everyone has a choice on what they should do and no one was being forced to remain a member of the coalition.
People have choice, freedom of choice. We can't force anybody. You gotta, that's, we born, maybe not automatons. We all have freedom of choice and you're free to come or, but we are accommodating. We always stretch out the olive branch to you. And so it's up to you, but this is a movement. We are moving forward. So you come with us, we're going forward. If you're not with us, you stay at the back. But like everything else, we want to come together. We, as I said before, united we stand, divided we fall. So we don't have time for trivial and cavil and the devil, using the devil advocate to disturb us, because there's a lot of distractions here. All right. And if I can recall, I wasn't there in the Cummings Accord after my name, but it's 70-30. And I mean, we have 1/3 regions and 1/3, 70-30 is like 1/3, 2/3. And so 1/3 of 3 is 1. So if they have, at least they have Region 7, Baltic, I think they have the vice chair for that. So at least 70-30, we still maintain our 70-30%.
Dr. Cummings was backed up in her responses by Member of Parliament Tabitha Sarbo-Haley, who remains in the coalition, although she has resigned from the Working People's Alliance, which has since pulled out of the coalition for reasons of non-inclusion. Sarbo-Haley said the coalition is an interesting arrangement that is never solid and always remains a work in progress. She told reporters via the virtual press briefing that she has full confidence that the two sides will be able to work out its differences.
I believe that though everybody who is part of the coalition believes that the coalition should remain, but we just have to continue to work on determining how it is that we would work together in that coalition for the betterment of the people of Guyana. So you can go back to 1960s or whenever, but the world over, coalitions have always, had its issues, and that does not mean that we cannot overcome them. And as was said by my colleague there, Ms. Karen Cummings, Dr. Karen Cummings, we have an opposition leader that I believe would work along with the leader of the list and the leader of the PNC and all the leaders of the parties so that we could be on firmer ground moving forward.
The newsroom reported on Tuesday that the fallout between the AFC and APNU has resulted in AFC councillors threatening to shift support to its political rival, the People's Progressive Party. Kurt Campbell, Newsroom.
Police on Monday caught the main suspect in the 2015 murder of a taxi driver whose body was found in a trench at Iflut, West Coast, Demerara, almost a week after he went missing. Police headquarters reported that ranks in Regional Division 8, acting upon information received, went to a location at 111 miles Madhya, where they arrested 49-year-old Sheldon Colin Abrams of Supply Mahika on the east coast of Demerara. Abrams was wanted in connection with the murder of Colin Clark, which occurred between November 25 and December 3, 2015. Police in mid-December recovered Clark's car at a house located at Perth, Maikoni, on the east coast of Demerara. Clark's body was found on December 3, 2015. Now, an investigation and manhunt has been launched following the escape of a prisoner from Lusignan prison on the east coast of Demerara on Tuesday. Director of Prisons, Gladwin Samuels, in a statement said 23-year-old James Moore was booked out from the holding bay at the prison to be on kitchen duty. At around 16 hours 30, he was discovered missing from the kitchen. Moore is serving a 3-year sentence for armed robbery. His addresses on record are Lot 544, New Road, Dairy, West Bank, Demerara, and Dennis Street, Turkine, East Coast, Demerara. Still ahead on the newsroom, opposition members of parliament tell the government to change its approach to tackling the COVID-19 pandemic as 48 more cases are recorded and $25,000 cash grant distribution commences in regions 1 and 9. Stay tuned. This is the newsroom. 4 coalition opposition members of parliament came together on Wednesday to demand that the People's Progressive Party government change its approach of dealing with the COVID-19 situation in Guyana. Fariza Hanif tells us more.
Recognizing that there has been a frightening surge in COVID-19 cases and deaths, 4 opposition MPs, Dr. Karen Cummings, Geeta Chandan Edmund, Tabitha Sarbu Halley, and Dawn Hastings Williams, have issued calls for the government to be more rigid in its approach to enforcing preventative measures. More importantly, the 4 women were heavy in their criticism of changes to the APNU-AFC's plan to dealing with the pandemic and have called for a reversal of some of those changes. The APNU-AFC, while still in government, had the opportunity to manage the situation for the first 5 months after the first case of the disease was detected here on March 11, 2020. In retrospect, Dr. Cummins now says that the only thing she thinks the coalition should have done differently was to be more oppressive with Port Health and lock down the country earlier. She says the PPP government must act with more inclusion and do like the APNU-AFC to recognize the need for involvement of all state agencies to combat the pandemic.
The point is this, it wasn't alarming as though it is now 438% in the cases and that sort of thing. It's very different, you know, but we made effort and by that time we would have continued our 4 E's, continue our testing and tracing because we were at that point in time having assistance from Colombia and China in terms of PPEs from our Caribbean brothers and so forth. So we were on way to kind of contain it in some respects.
A former junior health minister herself, Dr. Cummings said the government is out of touch with the realities on the ground. She rejected the government's move to allow hundreds of citizens who tested positive for COVID-19 to home isolate, while the former Ocean View Hotel, which was transformed into a COVID-19 hospital by the APNU-AFC, continues to operate below capacity. Meanwhile, Chandan Edmund was strong in her call for the government to be far more rigid in enforcing the curfew and other preventative measures in place. She said the Guyana Police Force should be used to do its bid.
There has also been the absence of a coordinated effort at the enforcement of the regulations, and indeed bars, restaurants, and other establishments act with impunity and remain open during the curfew. Large numbers of persons still congregate, and many persons are seen in public without masks. All these create the opportunity for community spread of COVID-19. The Guyana Police Force, which is responsible for the COVID-19 enforcement operations, appears to have become devoid of leadership and direction in enforcing the measures. What we have seen since August 2nd is a relaxing of the enforcement. It is evident that the police have become politically instructed to stand down while COVID-19 is spreading at an alarming rate.
The government also received a flack for its move to have public servants return to work on a full-time basis and have been asked to give more attention to the spread of the virus in the hinterland communities where the numbers are currently high. The opposition parliamentarians believe the government is too laid back in dealing with the virus and say if action is not taken now, there are fears for what could happen in the future. Reporting for the newsroom, Fariza Hanif.
And Guyana on Wednesday recorded 48 new cases of COVID-19, bringing the total number of known cases in the country to 2,894, with 11 persons in the intensive care unit. The new cases were recorded in Region 1 with 70 new cases, Region 2 with 3 more cases, Region 3 recorded 1 new case, Region 4 recorded 24 additional cases, Regions 5, 7, and 8 recorded 1 new case each. There are 185 persons in institutional isolation and 938 in home isolation, while a total of 1,680 persons have recovered thus far. The number of deaths is at 80 and 52 persons are in institutional quarantine. The number of persons tested to date is 14,082. Less than a week after the passage of the 2020 budget, which makes provision for a $25,000 cash grant to households across the country, the government has begun distribution in 2 of the 10 administrative regions. Here are details.
Over 8,000 Burima-Waini Region 1 residents were the first to benefit from the $25,000 per household COVID-19 relief cash grant announced by President Irfan Ali earlier this month. Just 1 day prior to the laying of the Emergency Budget 2020 in the National Assembly, the President indicated that the grant was one of several measures designed to buttress households grappling with the effects of the pandemic. The project was officially launched by Minister of Housing and Water Colin Crowell on Monday in Canhill. The minister, who also holds parliamentary responsibility for Region 1, said the initiative demonstrates the government's commitment to the people.
Today's activity now, as mentioned by the regional chairman, is a simple one, but the significance is far more than the effect than what we're having here. This exercise today signals our commitment that when our president, when he addressed the nation, he spoke about ensuring that we take care of the lives of our citizens. And this is one such exercise, this cash grant program that you will have, the COVID cash grant relief program that you have today.
He expects that the grant will ease some of the hardships that hinterland residents are facing following the halt in mining and other activities during the pandemic. The minister also gave assurances that the distribution would be done fairly. Residents expressed their gratitude to the government for the initiative. In an invited comment, Remel Santiago said he was pleased to receive his package.
I feel so happy we heard about this, and our new president who is in the country, who rule our country. I want to say thanks so much to him that he could pass this budget, so people across the country who need a little thing at the moment and today, as in this day at the present, I feel so happy, and I know and sure that everybody will feel happy. I want to tell thanks so much that I received my package with the cash, and I will try my best for get something with this for my home, for my kids, because it is important. And I feel so happy, and I say thanks so much for it.
Another resident of Canhill, Charmaine Smith, said the grant will be an addition to provisions made by government to help her secure online education for her daughter.
Well, I feel so proud about whatsoever the government is doing. At least we see them doing a much than before, and we thank the government for everything that they has done in this past few months.
Meanwhile, distribution in the Upper Takatu, Upper Essequibo Region 9 was initiated by Natural Resources Minister Vikram Bharat on Monday. The minister said the exercise is a good start to revitalize the economy. This is not the government's first COVID-19 assistance program to help citizens countrywide since taking office in August. A number of hampers were distributed to vulnerable communities last month.
When the news returns, the financial, weather and bridge reports along with sports. Welcome back. Now for a look at what's happening in sport. We're starting off with some football news. 6 months of serious preparation is needed to get Guyana's Golden Jaguars into top shape for the 2021 Gold Cup Prelims. That's the contention of President of the Guyana Football Federation, Wayne Ford. Guyana will face Guatemala in round 1 of the prelims in July, and Ford is positive about the team's chances. In conversation with the newsroom, Ford spoke on the different aspects of preparations. So I'm joined by President of the Guyana Football Federation, Wayne Ford, and we will be discussing Guyana's draw at the 2021 Concacaf Gold Cup Prelims. Of course, the historic first ever draw was held on Monday evening in Miami, with Guyana earning a spot against Guatemala in the first round. Should Guyana win that opening game, they go on to face either Guadeloupe or Bahamas in round two. And if they win that round two contest, they will qualify in Group C alongside Costa Rica, Jamaica, and Suriname. Mr. Ford, just your thoughts on what transpired on Monday evening at that draw and your initial reaction really to seeing Guyana's opponent for that crucial first round.
Thank you for having me, Avinash, and good day to your viewers. You know, the way that I look at football is that there's really no easy opponent these days.
Right.
Everyone, you know, in particular in the Caribbean region, everyone has been making the necessary investment to put forward the best possible national team. And while we may have some of our stakeholders claiming that that was a very difficult draw for Guyana, I think we have to give respect to any of the teams that in previous years may have been considered lesser opponents. So I am very positive. I think we have confidence in our program. I certainly do have confidence in my national team management staff, starting from the head coach, Coach Maximo, and the supporting cast below him. The Concacaf Gold Cup will require tremendous preparation from our standpoint, and I'm very positive that we can go out and compete with Guatemala and any of the other CONCACAF nations that are considered strong teams within the Confederation. So I'm not worried about the draw at all.
As you alluded to in your opening statements, there are challenging times, of course, for associations across the globe with COVID-19, of course, putting a halt on you know, structured training and competitions as well. With these tournaments, as you said, preparation is key. How much of a challenge do you see Guyana facing in terms of getting a squad of players tournament ready?
I think if we are unable to put in at least 6 months of serious preparation, we'll be in trouble. Yeah. And I think I speak for any other country that is still battling the global pandemic. You know, we want to be able to play at least 2 practice games before we go into that tournament. Our players have been essentially out of football. I mean, we have some of our international players that have now resumed playing because their leagues have started in North America and Europe. But in our region, most of the Caribbean islands and haven't been able to play any football in competition. So I see that as being a real problem for any nation preparing for such a major competition, because essentially we will be at a disadvantage. I think tomorrow or Wednesday, actually, I think Mexico is going to be playing a friendly game against Guatemala. And we're trying to organize so that game can be streamed live in Guyana here, so we can all take a look and see how Guatemala is performing. But they already have a jump start on us. So unless we can find a way, working with all stakeholders, to get in 6 serious months of preparation, we will be in problem. And there's no reason why we should not say this very clearly to everyone involved.
But so qualification, of course, for these tournaments comes at a cost. We all know too well how financially tough it can be, especially on small associations like us here in the Caribbean, to get teams in shape. I'm sure that is something that will be engaging, you know, your marketing team in the weeks and months ahead.
Of course, we actually formed a marketing committee. It was actually approved by the board about, I think, 3 weeks ago. We formed a marketing committee that will take care of the nations, the Gold Cup, and the 2022 qualification campaign. So they're already on the ground. In a week time, we'll be announcing the marketing team that will be working with our stakeholders. We will definitely be reaching out to corporate Guyana, to the government of Guyana, to our partners, to try and get as much support as we can.
Given the the format of the tournament, teams could have different objectives really. You could initially aim to qualify for that group stage as Guyana is at the moment. You could go on to top the group, you could win the tournament, or just use the platform basically as a means of exposure. What's the thinking of the GFF and by extension the Golden Jaguars, of course, in terms of this regard? What are you using the tournament this time to achieve?
I think the first thing that we try to achieve in our communication is that we have to manage the expectations. Obviously, it will be historic again. We made our first appearance in 2019, right. And here we're given an opportunity for a second appearance. We obviously have to qualify to the preliminary group. But I think one of the things that I would like to highlight is that all of the protocol and game management will be similar to what will take place at the Gold Cup. So there will be no limitations or no holding back from the part of Concacaf in making sure that the nations in the preliminary is giving that red carpet welcome that you usually can expect at the Gold Cup. What we have said for ourselves is that when we go out there, even if we bring second in a match, the nation must be proud of the effort that the guys put in. We must not go out at any time and try to play negative football, parking the bus, not giving the players time to express themselves, not trying that goal. Even if we turn out to in any of those contests, all of Guyana should lift their heads and feel proud that this team entered the nation really went out there and gave it their all. And that is why the preparation that is required to have the team ready is so critical to the performance that we can expect out of our boys on the given day.
And the former Golden Jaguars captain Christopher Nurse has weighed in on the debate on what will be the best formula to select players to the squad for a busy 2021 schedule. Akim Green spoke to Nurse recently and filed this report.
The senior national men's football team now know of their pathway they would have to take to qualify to the group stage of a second Gold Cup and their opponents in the Concacaf qualifiers for FIFA World Cup 2022. The coronavirus pandemic has seriously affected some of the smaller nations within Concacaf and their ability to prepare. In Guyana's context, there has been no elite league since May 2019. Due to the fluid issue of COVID-19 in Guyana, it seems improbable it will resume prior to the World Cup qualifiers in March or the Gold Cup preliminaries in July 2021. With the various precautionary measures in place, it hampers local-based players' ability to access match practice, which begs the question on how do they force a spot in the Golden Jaguars. According to Nurse, the logical option would be to select players who are prepared and have access to match practice.
When it comes to selection, if you ask me, the best thing to do is to try and stay in the tournament as long as possible for Guyana. If that means, using a larger contingent of overseas players to remain in the tournament, hopefully at that point, the restrictions open up, the local players can begin training again, potentially playing games, and we're still in the tournament, and then there's an opportunity for them to be included. If we go with a policy that gives us unprepared players a chance to compete, our chances of progressing becomes slender.
Nurse, who played during the 2014 World Cup qualifiers, the furthest Guyana has been in the qualifiers, explained that nothing trumps match practice.
Make no mistake, there's no replication for any kind of training besides matches. So the players who've been training consistently and playing games are going to be in a far, far, far better position to compete and be successful in those international fixtures than the players who have just been training themselves or, haven't been able to train because of the restrictions placed on them by COVID. So there's going to be a balance where if you use a lot of international players who have been playing a lot of minutes and training daily, because in the United States, everybody is training as normal. In Europe, everybody is training as normal. In many of the Caribbean countries, there's heavy restrictions where they're not able to train as normal.
Head coach Marcio Maximo has explicitly stated in the past he will ensure more local-based players are given spots in the Golden Jaguars squad. For the newsroom, Akim Green.
Now, England's women completed a T20 series whitewash against West Indies women in a thrilling final match that was reduced to 5 overs per side in Derby on Wednesday, owing to rain. West Indies batted first for the first time in the series and posted 41 for 3 of the allotted 5 overs, with Stephanie Taylor getting 50 not out, Natasha McLean 14, and Deandra Doughton, 11. Freya Davies, Catherine Brunt, and Sophie Ecclestone took a wicket each for England, who limped to 42 for 7, winning with 3 balls to spare. Shamilia Connell took 3 for 14 to claim the Player of the Match award as England suffered 3 runouts. Notably, Guyanese Cherry Ann Fraser made her international debut in the game, but did not bowl nor bat. Now, all the IPL teams have now lost at least one game after Kolkata Knight Riders defeated the previously unbeaten Rajasthan Royals by 37 runs in match 12 on Wednesday in Dubai. Shubman Gill with 47, Ian Morgan 34 not out, Andre Russell with 24, and Nitish Rana's 22 gave Knight Riders a winning total, with Jofra Archer bowling well with 2 for 18. Rajasthan lost half their side with just 42 runs on the board and eventually finished on 137 for 9. Tom Curran made 54 not out towards the end, and Just Butler made 21 at the top, but Rajasthan generally struggled. Shivan Mavi, Kamlesh Nargatkoti, and Varun Chakravarti took 2 wickets each for Kolkata Knight Riders on a night where Sunil Narain went for 40 of his quota of overs, including being hit for 4 sixes. The result means Kolkata Knight Riders have moved to second place ahead of Rajasthan Royals. Tomorrow, it's Kings 11's Punjab against Mumbai Indians from 10 hours in Abu Dhabi. Now, Game 1 of the NBA Finals is on tonight between the Los Angeles Lakers and Miami Heat. Game time is 21 hours. LeBron James, with 2 titles playing with Heat, will look to spur heavy favourites Lakers to victory in the 7-match series. It's the Lakers' first final in 10 years, and the last time they were at this juncture, Kobe Bryant led them to a 16th title in a 7-game spectacle. Now, 35, LeBron is vying for his 4th NBA championship with his 3rd team, and achieving that feat will see him join a select club. Standing LeBron's way is the Miami Heat, a team he previously played for between 2010 and 2014, winning 2 championships with them. The Heat are now led by Jimmy Butler, sometimes described as a problem player. Butler has struggled to find a team and system where he can flourish until now. After spells with the Chicago Bulls, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Philadelphia 76ers, the 31-year-old will feature in his first NBA Finals. And with that, we've come to the end of the news for this evening. Of course, you can find updates on these and other stories on our website, newsroom.gy, our Facebook page, and Instagram. On behalf of the entire news team, my name is Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching. Be safe. See you next time.